CMSportsNet is made possible by Genova's To Go and by Carroll Lynx. Game On is brought to you by Aquino Financial Services.
Hi there, I'm Pat Stetzer, and welcome back to Game On. Another fall season is almost here, and we've got the 2024 Carroll County Athletic League football season preview show. From team-by-team breakdowns to top returning players to this year's big matchups, we've got you covered on all things high school football in the CCAL. So let's get it started. It's Game On. We kick things off with previews of each county team, and we begin with Century. The Knights are in search of a big turnaround down in Eldersburg, and maybe this fall will be that time. Before we check in with the Knights, time to see their 2023 schedule and results. Century received a forfeit win despite losing to South Hagerstown in Week 1, and they only mustered 29 points after Week 2. A tough finish as well with back-to-back lopsided losses against rival Liberty, the second of those coming in the playoffs. Century is out to prove the Knights have a different attitude in 2024, so let's take a look at their season preview. Each football season is filled with learning lessons, and perhaps no Carroll County squad learned more in 2023 than Century. The Knights didn't win a game on the field last fall. They received a forfeit win over South Hagerstown a few weeks after their season opener with the Rebels. After scoring 27 points in the first 2 games, Century mustered 29 points the rest of the way. Knights coach Dave Ferguson summed up the takeaway this way.
Perseverance, right? Last couple years, yes, they've been rough. Well, we were young, we're going to be young again. But that never give up fight. This group has really come together so far over the summer. They're probably one of the tightest knit groups that we've had at Century in a long time. Our seniors and our juniors want to know success. So when you combine that together, I'm looking forward to this team to play some competitive football.
Century graduated its top rusher in Trey Helmick, who ran for close to 700 yards, added 200-plus receiving yards with 4 touchdowns. Helmick also had 80 tackles on defense. But some of the defensive pieces are back, led by seniors Dom D'Amico and JT Ferguson. D'Amico said Century began its mission of turning things around months ago.
Definitely the summer work we've been putting in this year is a lot better. We have camp we go to every year, Shepherd Football Camp. We're there for like 3 days. I thought there we looked really good. We were running our offense smoothly. We got a whole new offense. We're bringing up a lot of really good JV kids, and I think everyone's bonding really well. Our offense is looking a lot better now than it ever has before, in my opinion, and I think we're going to do big things this year. So.
Look for Jake Dexter to lead that offense from the quarterback position. D'Amico and Ferguson will likely line up in the backfield while they're not roaming the middle of the defense at linebacker. Ferguson, who collected 70 tackles last fall, said Century had a much better offseason to prepare for 2024.
I feel like offseason-wise, we were a lot better in getting people in the weight room and then focusing more on a newer offense and stuff like that, and then getting the freshmen in and stuff like that, and just really working hard in the weight room and getting bigger on the off-season. And that's where I feel like it was different.
Ferguson said bringing in several junior varsity players from a year ago into the mix this season should bode well for success. And Century needs it. The Knights were shut out 4 times on 2023 and posted a 1-9 record.
It's definitely more of a family now, right? All the guys coming up, I feel like it would be a little different with not playing on JV and stuff like that, but it really just clicked right away. It just feels more of a family and closer than last year.
Century hosts South High in Week 1, and the Knights have 3 home games in the first 4 weeks of the season. Coach Ferguson should know by then whether this team has what it takes to get the program back on a winning track.
The number one thing is you got to have buy-in from the team, right? I can run any offense, but if the team doesn't buy into it, it's not going to work. They really bought into this offense. We got a couple new coaches in, and it's been exciting to see. And we also have the numbers and the backups to be able to run and transition. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can produce, and when we get on September 6th.
Century opens the 2024 season on September 6th with a rematch against the Rebels, this time at the Castle in Week 1. A long road trip the following week to face Cambridge South Dorchester, but the Knights get back-to-back home games after that. Now it's Century's top players to watch for the 2024 season. Senior JT Ferguson had 70 tackles a year ago, and Dom D'Amico returns after missing most of 2023 due to injury. We'll see a new QB in junior Jake Dexter as well. Next up is Francis Scott Key. The Eagles have been in a similar pattern this century with 2 wins over the last 2 seasons. But a former longtime varsity coach has joined the staff in Uniontown, and Key hopes to take flight this fall. Taking a look at last year's schedule and results, you can see how FSK competed. The Eagles lost 5 games by 1 score. Their lone win came against Century in Week 5. All right, time to check in with Francis Scott Key and see how the Eagles are getting set for the 2024 season. Francis Scott Key started the 2023 season with 4 losses in a row, then snapped that skid with a Carroll County victory. The next problem for the Eagles was 5 straight defeats and a 1-9 record to finish the year. But Key lost 5 of those games by 8 points or fewer. Coach David Cunningham, now entering his 3rd season for the Eagles, said a turnaround starts with one thing.
It's going to take consistency. We started in December, and also adding Coach Krause. You know, the legacy he has, I'm learning from him. I'm back on the offensive side of the ball like when Coach Thompson was here. He's taking the defense over, so we're just remaining consistent and keep going forward.
Coach Krause is former South Carroll head coach Mike Krause, now working as FSK's defensive coordinator. The Eagles stayed in most games last fall and allowed 21.6 points per game. Krause went 31-18 in his 5 seasons as South Carroll's head coach, and he led the Cavaliers to the Class 2A-1A state final in 2021. Sam Andrews, one of Key's senior linemen, said learning under Coach Krause has been a plus so far.
I think definitely with Coach Krause coming in, we have a really good defense. We always really have a good defense, but this year we're really on top of it, especially with the offense. We got Cunningham, he's on top of it again, and we have a lot of different coaches. We got a line coach, he's really on top of it. We have to focus on pulling through, finishing. A lot of those games were pretty close, but in the last couple of seconds they broke away from us.
He really says like everything that we're supposed to do, like exactly, and like he'll walk through it if we're confused, and we always ask questions, which is a big difference from last year. We'll ask more questions, and he walks through it with us.
Francis Scott Key returned a standout athlete in Jermaine Dawson, who ran for more than 300 yards and scored 3 touchdowns in 2023. Also back is Jack Leonardo, whose 73 tackles were second most on the squad. Cunningham said Bryson Lookingbill, who comes in this fall from Littlestown, Pennsylvania, is a speedster to keep an eye on as well.
They got to deal with Jermaine this year. And, you know, we added a couple more pieces. We got a transfer from Littlestown, Bryson Lookingbill. He's like 6'3", 190, runs track. He runs a 4.48, got that Mason Fisher type speed. So, you know, they got to watch out for him too.
Just everybody being committed and working together and staying focused on every game and keeping the pressure on.
First up for the Eagles is Smithsburg at home in Week 1 before 3 straight road games. Winters Mill awaits in Week 3, and Key lost a heartbreaker to the Falcons last year on the final play of the game. It will likely take that consistency for FSK to turn things around, and these seniors are ready to lead.
I'm yelling, I'm screaming. I got to make sure, especially the younger guys, are doing what they're supposed to be doing, you know, and if they're doing it right and if they actually know what they're doing. Especially since, you know, a lot of these guys are younger and they have a lot of potential. I'll make sure they get that full potential.
1, 2, 3, I will. 1, 2, 3, I will.
The Eagles open at home before embarking on a 3-game road trip, and their county schedule begins September 20th at Winters Mill, a rematch of their matchup from last year that was decided on the final play of the game. 3 of Francis Scott Key's players to watch are up next, led by Big Sam Andrews on the line. George Taku gives Key some speed on offense and defense, and Bryson Lookingbill is that transfer from Littlestown, Pennsylvania. Up next, we have Liberty. The Lions fought to get above 500 throughout the 2023 season and suffered a pair of tough losses to county foes South Carroll and Westminster along the way. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 2023 schedule and results for Liberty. Last fall, the Lions started 0-2 but won 3 of the next 4 games before those tough county defeats, and both of them came by a combined 4 points. Very competitive. Okay, time to check in with Liberty as the Lions are eager to get on the field for the real 2024. Up and down may be the best way to describe the 2023 season for Liberty, a fall in which the Lions lost 2 in a row and won 2 in a row 4 times throughout the year. They finished 3-3 in county play and finished with 5 wins, and twice fell by 3 points or fewer along the way. Disappointment for sure, but there's an air of excitement in Eldersburg this fall.
We are cautiously optimistic. That would be the best way to put it. I mean, anytime we return a quarterback, we return our top running back, our top receiver, our second leading tackler. So there's a lot of parts that we have, and we think we're in good shape. But we got a lot of growth. There's no way you can be satisfied where you are. We got a lot of growth. And if we can get the parts to work, we think we can have a great year.
Oh, I'm super excited about this season. It's way more energized than last year. We got people that actually want to come out, want to play, want to get reps, and even if they're not starting, they want to get to that starting position. And that's what I want. That's what a team wants. That's how we build.
It's really big because we all know our players already. We all have the chemistry from last year. We're all ready to work together. We all are already on the same page. So it's great to have everybody together. We have a great D-line, great set of linebackers, great safeties, great corners, great offense. We're just all ready to be here.
Liberty brings back quarterback Chase Miller, who led Carroll County last fall in passing yards with 1,710. Miller also threw a county best 17 touchdowns. Kevin Poole led the Lions with 600 rushing yards and 11 TDs, and he's back for his senior season. And senior Tristan West returns after catching 34 passes for 815 yards and 8 touchdowns. Luth said the key to success may hinge on a junior-laden offensive line, anchored by senior Blake Cox.
For us, it comes down to the O-line and D-line. We return a couple D-linemen, kids that have got significant playing time on the D-line, so we feel good about that. Our offensive line is really young, and they have to stack up practice after practice, play after play. We just got to get them on the same page and playing with the energy they're capable of playing with.
Kevin Kern should roam the middle of Liberty's defense, coming off a sophomore season in which he totaled 60 tackles. And Cox had 7 sacks on the Lions' defensive line. Liberty's 2024 season kicks off with a Week 1 matchup at Walkersville and another road trip in Week 2 versus Boonesboro, as the Lions try to avoid a second straight 0-2 start. The players say their attitude is different so far this time around.
We are just working on getting our play set, getting our mindsets right. Like I said, having our team together, like we've all played together before. We have that chemistry, we're all ready to hit. It's fun being together, we can make jokes with each other, and it's just the chemistry's there, and we're all ready to go out and win for each other.
Oh yeah, it's definitely way easier this year. Starting out, everyone knows somewhat of what they're doing. Just little things here and there, but that's usually how it is. So.
Liberty enjoys a 4-game homestand from weeks 4 through 7, with that October 18th contest against rival South Carroll, a rematch of last year's overtime clash. Liberty's top returners are led by senior quarterback Chase Miller, who led the CCAL in passing last season. Tristan West led all pass catchers in receiving yards, and fellow senior Kevin Poole anchored the ground game in 2023. Up next, we have Manchester Valley. The Mavericks advanced to the regional second round for the 3rd time since 2019, and they're 5-7 all-time in their playoff history. Let's go ahead and take a look at the schedule and results from last year. The Mavs got hot at the right time and posted a 23-15 road playoff win against Westminster in Week 10. That victory ensured Man Valley of a winning record in 2023. The Mavericks want to carry that playoff win momentum into the 2024 season, so let's see how Man Valley is getting set to kick it off. Manchester Valley won 3 of its final 4 games of the 2023 season before facing Westminster in the playoffs. And the Mavericks put together an impressive road postseason victory before finishing with a winning record. Now the Mavs want to take that success and carry it into the 2024 fall season.
Well, I think the kids in the offseason did a pretty good job of building off of that, especially the younger kids seeing that we could be successful in the postseason. And I think we kind of learned to try to up the expectations as opposed to just being status quo, and try to put ourselves in a position to be more consistent and play better football earlier in the year than until we can peak possibly at the end, but to try to get that going a little bit earlier.
Pick up where we left off with more improvement. Our line has definitely come a longer way. We had a few graduates, which is hurting, but we also have a very good line this year, and we're looking to just improve.
Man Valley looks to replace a lot of dynamic players on offense, but Coach Bernie Kuntz said leaning on a big O-line should help matters. Matthew Ferran takes over at quarterback after the graduated Gene Maggin, who passed for 1,342 yards and 9 touchdowns last season. One key returner is senior Braden Fritz, who caught 17 passes and kicked 6 field goals with 24 PATs.
Well, I think we got a new team. We've been working the offseason. We're excited. I think we've got a lot more discipline this year than we have last year, so it means less mistakes. And I think we're going to be a good team this year.
Fritz said expect the Mavs to show a few new looks on offense in 2024 after they averaged a little more than 17 points per game last fall.
We got some new stuff coming, but nothing I'm going to say on here. We're ready. We got new offense, and we're ready to go.
Manchester Valley's defense had James Herndon with 7 INTs, Anthony Hesselbein with 6 sacks, and Nick Loprieto with 66 tackles leading the way. They all graduated after last season, so it's time for new players to fill those roles.
It's all about going out there and wanting to rip someone's head off and go play your hardest. So that's the mentality you gotta have.
The Mavericks face Perry Hall in Week 1 and then host North Hagerstown in their home opener. They'll look for revenge later in the year against Liberty and Winters Mill, both of which were one-score losses in 2023. Coach Kuntz said he likes Manchester Valley's balance going into the new year.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a good mix of young and old. We're going to have some good kids, skilled kids back from that we had last year from, maybe a Foreman and a Fritz who played, and then some good linemen, some kids that are good linemen, and I think they're, picking up some of the new stuff that we're working on.
Looking at this year's slate for Man Valley, Week 1 has the Mavs visiting Perry Hall. They were 4A, 3A state semifinalists last season. Then it's 4 home games over the next 5 weeks for the Mavericks. All right, let's see a few of the Mavs players to watch. Matthew Ferran is the Mavericks' new signal caller, and fellow senior Braden Fritz returns after a solid 2023. Crew Boog is one to watch along the line for Manchester Valley. Now we head down to South Carroll. It was a tough start for the Cavaliers last fall, but they ended the regular season on a winning note. And now they have some key pieces back from last year's young bunch. Let's check out the 2023 results and check that rough start in question. An 0-3 start, by the way, getting outscored 133-7. Chesapeake was a state quarterfinalist in 2023, and Linganore made it all the way to the state finals, so tough opponents there. It'll likely be another challenging start for this season, but the Cavaliers say they've learned from those matchups in 2023, and they're ready to take a step forward. Let's check in with South Carroll. South Carroll faced a challenging early schedule in 2023 and didn't get to enjoy a win until Week 7. But the Cavaliers ended the regular season with 3 wins in a row. That stat, coupled with a host of returning players, has the Cavs feeling good about picking up where they left off when the 2024 season begins.
Yeah, kind of just trusting ourselves in the beginning half of the season. Last year, we got a lot of first-time guys, but we got a lot more experience this year, and we're hoping to carry that into the beginning of the season.
Really, we just need full effort and our best execution every practice. Just do 100% of what we're capable of every day. And then as we have a lot of practices like that, we'll continue to build momentum and get better.
South Carroll opens with the same 3 opponents as it did last fall: Chesapeake of Anne Arundel, Linganore, and Westminster. SC lost all 3 last year by a combined 133-7. But the Cavs won their final 3 games of the regular year, including an overtime victory against rival Liberty. Assistant head coach Chris Gavin said the 2023 season can serve as a great learning tool for the future.
Yeah, so last year we experienced a ton of adversity, right? Starting out game 1, right, losing Manny immediately, who was supposed to be the guy. Got him coming back, so that's good. We're gonna keep that quiet for a little bit, but yeah, there was a ton of adversity that we saw throughout the schedule with injuries and so on. We're gonna deal with a team that frankly has seen it all, and I don't think there's been a team in South Carroll history that has had so many young guys start and then return.
Gavin mentioned the return of senior Manny Rodriguez, who missed last fall with an injury. Brother Anthony Rodriguez is back after 600 rushing yards and 7 total touchdowns as a sophomore. Also returning is quarterback Caleb Evans, who threw for 1,386 yards for the second most in Carroll County last fall. Evans gets his top pass catcher back from a year ago in senior Braden Yeager. Meanwhile, senior lineman James Graham posted 5 sacks on defense in 2023, tops on the team.
Yeah, some of those guys I haven't been able to play with since my sophomore year, so being able to play with them is really special, and I think we got a good connection, which will be good for us.
South Carroll has balance with 10 sophomores and 10 juniors along 14 seniors on the current roster. And that has the Cavaliers excited to get started September 6th.
Oh, it's great because sometimes you have seniors who have really good years, and it's not like you can look, oh, well, next year we have that. But we had a lot of juniors and sophomores that have great years, and you can look, oh, well, next year we can just keep building on top of that. So it's very exciting.
The biggest thing is that these guys have set the standard, and we're holding them as a coaching staff to that standard.
The Cavs have the same 3 opponents to kick off their 2024 schedule, and South Carroll visits Ruby Field for its county opener in Week 3 against Westminster. The Cavs added Brunswick to replace Sussex Tech in Week 5 this fall. Now we see a few players to watch for South Carroll. Quarterback Caleb Evans threw for the second most yards in the county last year. He gets his top receiver back in senior Braden Yeager, and South Carroll is pleased to get Manny Rodriguez back on the field after he missed almost all of last season with an injury. Time to check in with Westminster, the reigning Carroll County Athletic League champ. The Owls went unbeaten in county play, but had their season ended at the hands of rival Manchester Valley in the opening round of the playoffs. Let's look at a quick look back at last year's schedule. Hard to be upset with an 8-1 regular season and 7 straight wins, but Westminster did fall short in the regional postseason when Man Valley won 23-15, a tough pill to swallow. The Owls seem fueled by that playoff loss to end the 2023 season, and with some new faces on the field, Westminster is poised to make a deeper postseason run. Let's check out the Owls.
Make each other work today. The big thing today is getting better. Let's get better today. D-line on 3. 1, 2, 3. D-line!
Trying to replace the reigning football player of the year is a daunting task, one that faces Westminster this fall as the Owls prepare to kick off the 2024 season. Gone is quarterback Kyrese Walker, who graduated in the spring after leading the Owls to the Carroll County title and an 8-2 record. Walker isn't the only standout that graduated from the program, but head coach Chris Basler said it's a next man up mindset heading into the new season.
I think this is always an exciting time of the year. You know, we've had the good fortune since I've been a head coach here to have a lot of great players, you know, and we said the same thing when Eric Stranko left to go to Delaware. We said the same thing when Mason Fisher left. You know, now it's Kyrese has moved on. And, you know, I think one thing about us is we try to focus on the big picture, and you know, it's a program, you know, and we've been trying to sell that since the end of last year, to get back in the weight room, to get back to what makes us us. And you know, this team collectively has really bought in, and we've had a great summer and we've had a great off season thus far, and you know, I'm excited to see what we can do when we start playing other people.
Yes, sir. There's always going to be a little bit of nerves, probably week 1, but I mean, I've stepped up into the role and all summer led the team through what we've had, summer workouts, OTAs, and I've just tried to step up and fill that spot that we lost last year with losing a guy like Kyrese.
That's junior quarterback Rory O'Connor, who takes the reins of an offense that averaged close to 30 points per game last fall. He's looking to replace Walker's 1,277 passing yards and 16 touchdowns, and he'll have some help. Running back Raekwon Warfield returns after he ran for more than 600 yards and had 8 total TDs. Pass catchers Canton Rudders, Isaiah Sprinkle, Braden Troop, and Cooper Whitcomb are all also back. Whitcomb says he's excited to be a part of this year's team as it gels with veterans and newcomers alike.
And I'm super impressed in the younger guys. They've played a major role in stepping up. Like you said, Kyrese, we had some huge athletes leave, but I believe our younger guys are also some huge athletes that are going to replace that. So I think it's going to be good.
Go! Westminster went 3-1 over the first 4 weeks of the season and put together a 7-game winning streak along the way, with wins against Franklin and Walkersville to boot. The season didn't end well for the Owls, however, with Manchester Valley beating them in the regional playoffs.
That loss last year, it put us in a really bad place as a team. The chemistry but this year, after that loss, I mean, the practices we've been having, the intensity, it's up there. So.
Last year when we had that loss in the first round of the playoffs, we kind of it was like just don't overlook anybody. Like this year, take it week by week, and when we play, we're just worried about Franklin right now. It's the only game we care about, and we'll work on from there every week.
Franklin and Frederick are road games to start the year this time, and South Carroll comes to Ruby Field for the home opener in Week 3. Dazzler said he likes the makeup of this Westminster squad as it gets ready to defend the county championship.
I think when you look around, as a coach and you see how we've been so far and how we look right now, it makes you excited. And, all of our focus right now is on Franklin. We want to be 1-0 every week, and, we still have, a few weeks to get ready for them, and we're just trying to narrow our focus and really hone in on trying to win that game first. And it's going to be a tough one because they're going to be really talented and well coached, and we're going to have our hand full, but those are the games you get excited about.
This year's schedule for the Owls looks like this. Tough customers in the first 2 weeks, with Franklin and Frederick both on the road, and both were state quarterfinalists in 2023. Westminster brings back talent, and here are 3 of their top returners. Junior Rory O'Connor getting set to quarterback the offense. He'll have Xavier Howard as his primary back, one of his primary backs, and a returning pass catcher in Cooper Whitcomb. We finish things up with Winters Mill, and the Falcons are coming off the best season in program history. They won a playoff game for the first time, made it all the way to the 2A-1A state quarterfinals. Last year, we're going to look back at last year. The Falcons won their first 8 games of the year, lost the county title game against Westminster, but rebounded with a convincing playoff win against Williamsport before Forest Park edged them in the quarterfinals. Big Mill raised the bar in 2023, and expectations were raised along with it. Let's see how the Falcons are doing as they prepare to keep their winning ways intact this fall. Winters Mill football fans couldn't have asked for much more in 2023 when the Falcons started 8-0, won a playoff game for the first time ever, reached the state quarterfinals, and crafted the best season in program history. Now it's time for an encore, and Big Mill is ready to show Carroll County what it learned from that fantastic fall.
I think it really shows us what we can do as a school. So a lot of people don't expect a lot from us coming from Winters Mill, but we came in, we showed everyone that we're going to come out, hit you in the face, and keep going until it's over. So
it really set the tone for our future teams, and especially this year, coming right off that great season with a bunch of guys who were on that team last year. It was a really special thing for the football program.
This year's goal was to win, but also replace some big-time players from a year ago. Quarterback Caleb Crouch scored 11 touchdowns. Running back Paris Lee ran for almost 700 yards. Nico Baez led the defense with 67.5 tackles. They all graduated along with some others. But the Falcons have goals in mind similar to last season's.
Starting out, the guys understand what the expectations are, what we want from them. I always like how we practice day one. I think a lot of coaches would say the same thing, but I think that the guys, they took that from last year's team. But I told them, you're your own team. No one's going to stop to congratulate us about last year. It's on to this year, and we got to be ready to meet that challenge.
Expect to see players such as Chris Schoonover and Tommy Hinkhouse leading the charge. Hinkhouse hauled in 2 interceptions last season and had a defensive touchdown, and Schoonover had 5 tackles for loss along the way. Victor Tejada led the Falcons with 9 sacks, second best in Carroll County, and he returns for his junior season. Meanwhile, Austin Utz is getting comfortable at quarterback. He replaced Crouch late in the year after Crouch went down with a season-ending injury. Miller said it needs to come together in September for Winters Mill to start strong.
Guys who are going to be new starters are going to have to find their legs pretty early on. We're going to need a smaller group of seniors, but they're a very capable group of seniors. They're going to have to set the tone early on. Our first couple games are very crucial. We're going to have to be able to gel pretty quickly, as we get into the thick of the schedule. I like who we have. I always love our guys. They give us all they got, but we're really going to have to find cohesion early on in order to have success in the long run.
The Falcons had 6 road games on the schedule this fall, one of which takes them to Seaford, Delaware in Week 2. They're using that as motivation to prove all the doubters wrong.
Coach's motto is always we'll play you wherever we'll come and beat you.
The Winters Mill kids are tough. I tell them all the time, there's no tougher kid than a Winters Mill kid, and they buy into that, and they eat it up, and they own it. We get knocked down. Sometimes we get knocked down more than we do the knocking down. Last year we did a lot of knocking down, but our kids always get back up and always ready for more, and that's what I love about our kids and why I'm proud to be here.
1, 2, 3, Falcons!
The Falcons have a quirky schedule in 2024. 4 straight road games, weeks 4 through 7, and only 3 home games this fall. They get to host county champion Westminster in week 9. Big Mill's top returning players are led by quarterback Austin Utz, who got some playing time late last season when starter Caleb Crouch went down with a season-ending injury. Tommy Hinkhouse and Chris Schoonover are all also back from last year's state quarterfinal squad. And there you have it, a look at all 7 Carroll County football teams as they prepare to kick off the 2024 season. Everyone at CMSportsNet is excited to bring you all the biggest moments and top plays throughout the upcoming season. As always, we've got you covered. Want to make sure you know our Game of the Week coverage kicks off Friday, September 6th, when Century welcomes South Hagerstown to Eldersburg for the season opener. Former Century AD Randy Pence is set to join me on the call. Kickoff is set for 6:30. Stay tuned for more information about our first broadcast of the 2024 season. Also, a reminder, we'll be back next Wednesday, September 4th, for another episode of Game On. You'll see our boys soccer and girls soccer preview coverage, as well as more football to get ready for the opening week of 2024. And that will do it for the football season preview show episode of Game On. As always, we thank you for watching. Be sure to catch all of our high school sports content online on Facebook and YouTube, as well as our website, cmsportsnet.com. You can watch us on cable channel HD 1072, and be sure to follow us on Instagram at CMSportsNet Action. Thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Hi, I'm Steve Aquino. Creating a financial plan requires a disciplined, well-thought-out approach. At Aquino Financial Group, our mission is to provide a variety of solutions to help our clients fulfill their lifetime financial goals and dreams.
Hungry? Genova's to go. Pizza, pasta, subs, and more. Fresh hot pizza right from the oven. Genova's to go. A mouth-watering cheesesteak just off the grill. Genova's to go. Fresh baked bread and plump wings seconds from the fryer. Genova's to go. Genova's to go carry-out, delivery, mobile device, and online ordering is available at all locations. Westminster, Hampstead, Manchester, and our newest dining room in Eldersburg for lunch, dinner, or any time in between. Genova's to go.
What's the best gift you can give yourself? Pursue your passions. Explore your creativity. Expand your knowledge. Treat your mind and body. Give yourself a better you. With personal enrichment classes at Carroll Community College. Join us at carrollcc.edu/personal enrichment.